but if we can say it, at that time there was more communists, where practically no one could enter unless they were on some type of a guided tour, and they couldn't leave that tour. They were watched constantly, and so they made an effort. He and another devotee. They made all these arrangements, including at the time growing their hair, and they got suits, and they made this very elaborate arrangement through the father of this devotee that was in a big position in a very major corporation in the United States. It had a branch apparently around Hong Kong or China. And everything was being done step by step. But when Srila Prabhupada heard that it was so difficult, he said, the time is not right. He said, when the time comes, then you will know and you'll be able to enter. So at that point, they kind of heeded Prabhupada's words and they decided, okay, we won't do it now. But after Prabhupada left, in the year 1980, sometimes we have a calling, where Krishna, in the form of the Super Soul, inspires us, or we are inspired by the external manifestation, spiritual master, the devotees. And so I think that happened to Mahakrishna Goswami, and so he decided that this was the time. So he went first to Hong Kong, and at the time there was not really any temple. Just they were moving around so often, and there was really nothing to be said of a temple. At the time there were no, there was one Chinese devotee. And so he went there, and being the general that he is, he registered the society. It lost its registration. He set up a BBT, and he set up a small temple. I was also able to assist. And then gradually, at the time, because there was only a few foreign devotees, we had to preach through the medium of yoga, meaning that we, for all practical purposes, we appear just like yoga teachers, even wearing yoga uniforms. We registered a society called International Yoga Institute, and we ran a lot of persons through classes. But the classes were, like a combination of some yoga asanas, not the one that Nityananda Chandra was taught, but there were others. And he has a unique style. But a little bit of that, but then we kind of very, methodically spoofed in the philosophy from Bhagavad Gita just a little bit. We couldn't give it all, because what we learned is that there was like an anti-Krishna alarm that went off in people's heads when they heard that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because the conception of a personal God is not there. So anytime you start to mention such things, then people just disappear. So after a while we learned we couldn't do that. So just very, very gradually, the difference between the body and the soul, and so on and so forth, karma, reincarnation, up. And so when you finally get the people to say yes, 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 yes enough times, then finally when you present, say there's a God who's a person, then okay, they can kind of accept that. So that's the way it kind of works. And through this, then we attracted some local Chinese persons there in Hong Kong. And when we recruited those devotees, because up until that time we didn't have local devotees to carry on the missionary activities that devotees perform all over the world, like book distribution, Harinam, and prasadam distribution, and all of that. But once those devotees came, then we were able to do this. And so it went from about 1980 to 1987, 88. Now, also, if you know the history, about that same time, what was the former Russian bloc countries become CIS now, everything changed from communism to some form of democracy. And at that time, we went to the Mayapur in 1988. The then GBC of that region, or one of them, his name is Giriraj, who lives now in Alachua, he told us that you should take a risk, like we did. And you know the stories of all the things devotees did in Russia. I mean, literally risking their lives, some of them, or many of them being in prison, some even having to give up their own lives for the mission. So he said, why don't you take a risk? So of course, you know, when His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami heard that, it just, you know, like the light bulb came on, and he said, yes, we should do this. He was very inspired. He felt that Prabhupada was speaking through this God brother. And then we made a plan. The plan appeared quite simplistic. You know, again, as you've read, Prabhupada started this whole movement just by sitting under one oak tree in Tompkins Square Park in the middle of New York City, just by himself. I mean, here we are tonight with so many nice devotees. You know, it's such an opulence. We even have Gunagrahi Maharaj's condos. Everything. You know, it's a luxury, really. So here's Prabhupada. You know, and all the things he endured to get there, first of all. You know, no money, the clothes in his back, you know, a few manuscripts, knew no one, and so he's living hand to mouth in New York, finally. And then he goes to the park every day with a set of kartals and just chants by himself. I mean, who can do that? It's someone who is, you know, divinely empowered by Krishna. But he said it was, you know, I'm trying to follow the order of my spiritual master. So that was so much etched in his heart. So he did that, and, you know, the history. So Goswami Maharaj had a similar idea. Why don't we just do that? Just keep it simple. So, 4 of us, Goswami Maharaj and myself and 2 other devotees, we went and we just wore the, you know, what we call karmi clothes, shirt and pants. And we went in. This was kind of like a golden opportunity. It was like a window where they were offering, you know, tourist visas. So we got tourist visas. We went in. We went across the border, and we put on devotional attire. And then we went to the parks, in the morning and the evening. We just sat down with a little mat and just with kartals and mridanga, and we just started to chant. We really had no idea